सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, so we completed the 11th chapter last time. Pretty simple chapter except for one or two points. Any questions, clarification before we go into the 12th?
Swamiji,
Yeah.
I have one question. Like it's a
Yeah.
bit, like I'm trying to frame, but it's a bit convoluted. But
No problem.
Swamiji, like the nimitta matram, that verse you spoke about, like so
Yeah.
you said like with every plan that we have, there is a master plan, that is Ishvara's plan, which is dynamic and takes into account the free will and all that.
Yeah.
And like whatever be the outcome, whether it is a success in my opinion or not, it is a success in Ishvara's
Exactly.
plan.
Is
right?
exactly what is meant to be.
And likewise, I have the free will to do act, not act, or differently act.
Yeah.
Right? So when I look at the outcome, including the choice that I have to act or not act or act differently, once everything is done, and the plan is not known to me, unlike for Arjuna, it's not known to me either. So once everything is done, whatever be the outcome, then should I remember that, say, okay, I didn't act or I acted differently, and that was what was there in the plan. Like that, retrospectively, should I understand?
Yeah, retrospectively, you know, this is exactly what is meant to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Because of your efforts or in spite of your efforts. Sometimes it's because of your efforts. Sometimes it's in spite of it. Yeah. You may have wanted something differently, worked for it differently, but it's okay. It's what is meant to be.
But if I had a choice, say, I could have acted this way, but then I ended up acting the
Exactly.
other way, and then I...
Yeah. You still ended up acting in a way, no? See, that is the uncertainty principle. No? And if you learn to handle that uncertainty, that is real karma yoga and maturity. Because nothing is certain. However much we try to predict and make it certain, things like that, with all our developments. Like for example, simple thing, rains in Bombay. They were saying in June will be 80% deficit. But it is not, it is only 40%. And July will make up most of it. And this time rains will be there in September as well. Because that's how it is. According to the ancient way of looking at it. Modern way, they have some other information. So it's not ancient versus modern, it is net result, what are we getting? Because this is Vyavahara, so it is not that the ancient way is the only way. Yeah. Because the more information getting, fine. New ways of doing things, fine. I know in this newspaper, I think there is a small article on that. Because I write for this free press journals, and they want a small thing, 400 words only. I mean, 400 words is like 2 tweets on Twitter. So what can you write?
Swamiji, I have one more question.
Sure.
Sorry, Swamiji.
No.
It just, I just, sorry.
No problem, sir. Come. Think of it, no problems, ask in between. I'm just giving the introduction to the 12th chapter. Remember, in the beginning I had said, the Gita in many ways is broken up according to Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi is the Mahavakya. What's a Mahavakya? Akhandartha Bodhakam Vakyam Mahavakya. A sentence that reveals you as the indivisible whole, as a limitless consciousness. So that is a Mahavakya. It reveals Jiveshwara Aikyam, the oneness between Jiva and Ishvara. So if you find the first 6 chapters of the Gita dealt with the reality predominantly, not only, but predominantly from the standpoint of Tvam, you, the individual, birth, death, all that thing, Karma Yoga, all that. It deal with the reality as well from the totality standpoint, where especially in verses like Na Bhavo Vidyate Sata, Na Sato Vidyate Bhava, all of that. Next 6 chapters, ending with the 12th that we are going to do, is predominantly from the standpoint of Tat, Ishvara. That's why Vishwarupa Darshanam, all that. 13th to 18th is predominantly from the standpoint of Asi. Asi meaning you are. It means whatever is necessary for the knowledge to be complete. We'll deal with that. So now we are the last chapter dealing with Tatpada. Okay. Popularly called as Bhakti Yoga. But remember what I said earlier also. There is no 4 paths. For the intellectual Jnana Yoga, for the emotional Bhakti Yoga, for the active Karma Yoga, and for one who is good for nothing, none of these, Hatha Yoga. It's not like that. Yeah. If your intellectual is all in the head, you are giving some Bhakti Yoga. Let his emotions also open up. If he is Bhakta, then he is melting at everything. Make him certain, it's the same. Give him Jnana Yoga. It should be ulta. He is too active, running around all the time. Give him some Hatha Yoga, quieten him down. He is already quiet, etc. Make him active, give him some Karma Yoga. It should be like that. No? Then Shivananda Ashram came up with integrated yoga. You mix all of them. Each person presents it in their own manner. Look at what Krishna has said. Lokesmin divida nishta pura prokta maya naga. Right in the beginning of time, I have presented 2 margas for moksha. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Sannyasinam, only jnana yoga. Karma yoga to yoginam. For the others, karma yoga. What about bhakti? Bhakti is part of both. The sannyasi also needs bhakti. No? I mean, come on. His bhakti is more. You don't know where your next meal is going to come from. You are trusting the Lord. And if your next meal, you don't get a meal, you are accepting it as a fact that today is Ekadashi for you. There is a lot of bhakti involved in that. Karma yoga definitely needs bhakti. Without bhakti, where is prasada buddhi, ishvara arpana buddhi? So bhakti yoga is not separate. Hatha yoga, if you want to manage your mind, etc., a bit easier, keep yourself healthy, etc., that is necessary again for both people. Then people will put in Raja Yoga, the last 3 steps of Hatha Yoga, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Everyone does that. Japa Yoga, everyone does that. So only 2 lifestyles. Either exclusive pursuit of the truth or pursuit of the truth inclusive of everything else. Take your choice. Only 2 margas. That's it. And he also says, Ekam Sankyam cha Yogam cha ya pashyati sa pashyati. Don't take these as 2 separate things, really speaking only one. Because both are meant for moksha. In both, the means of moksha is knowledge. One is inclusive, one is exclusive. That is the only difference. So one is a high degree of prioritization, that's all. So they are not really different. End is same, means are same. Then where is the difference on the path? Lifestyle. So they are not really different. So forget these 4 yoga part, okay? Everyone talks about it wherever you go. Okay. Now, 12th chapter, Bhakti Yoga. Okay. Other chapters also talked about Bhakti. What is 10th chapter and 11th chapter? All Bhakti only. Elsewhere also Bhakti has come. This focusing on Bhakti, but you will find focuses a lot on Karma Yoga. Okay. So let us see what he says. Now Krishna has done all this. The whole drama, all this thing. Mandrake the magician's tale, everything has come up. Okay. That's my irreverent Bhakti. Okay. All that has come up. And then he thought, okay, take a break. He kept quiet. So Arjuna thought this is a good time to ask a question. So the question comes up. Arjuna vahacha evam satata yukta ye bhakta swam paryupasate yepya chapi aksharam upyaktam teshan kim yoga vittamaha. This is the same old question. Sannyasa or Karma Yoga, Jnanam or same question in different forms he is putting it. Okay? So here is asking, Evam satata yukta ye bhaktaha. Ye bhaktaha satata yukta. Purely committed to knowing you. Tvam paryupasate, they are worshipping you. Or he says, Yepi aksharam avyaktam. Or those who are doing nididhyasanam only on aksharam, the pure reality, nirgunam. One is in terms of saguna also, one is in terms of nirguna. But tell me, are they really different, saguna and nirguna? The content of saguna is nirguna only. He says, but out of them, which is better? Kim yoga, ke yoga vittamaha. Who is the better yoga? Should I focus on karma yoga and worship, or only nididhyasana? That question itself reveals, remember, all this is Vyasa's elaboration, reveals a certain lack of clarity. Even if you are a sannyasi, there is certain worship in your life in terms of japa, etc. Mantras are slightly different. Okay? And even if you are a karma yogi, there is a certain amount of nididhyasana in your life because you have to own up the truth anyway. Therefore, it is not an either or situation. But in keeping with Arjuna's question, Krishna answers in the same format. Okay, so let's see what Krishna says. I mean, I hope all of you understood the question. Question is straightforward. Simple. Okay. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vesha Mano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopataha Te Yukta Tamo Mataha. He says, those who worship me, okay, Maya Avesha Manoha Ye Mam Nityopasa. With a total commitment to me, Ishvaraha. Remember, Krishna always speaks from the standpoint of Ishvara. Okay. Nitya Yuktaha Upasate. Upasana is regular in their lives. Worship is regular. The whole life is a worship. Okay. Nitya Yuktaha Upasate. Shraddhaya Parayopasne. With a great Shraddha. Unquestionable Shraddha. What is unquestionable Shraddha? Shraddha is belief, remember? It starts with open mind business that you must have heard of when you started Vedanta. Keeping an open mind. But here Shraddha is more. What is Paraya Shraddha? In the Shastra, with Shraddha towards whom? Ishvara, Shastra and the Guru. Okay. And I'll add a little bit yourself also, Atma Kripa. Normally added as Atma Kripa, but I'm saying Shraddha in you, the confidence that you can get it. Important. If you think I'm useless, I'm idiot and this thing, and I'm trying to say you're everything, What will happen? That you are everything will come filtered through I am an idiot. So you need a healthy self-esteem to understand Vedanta as well. Okay. So, what is that Shraddha? My old example. Certain examples I don't change because it works well. Supposing I ask you, do you have change for $500 in your pocket, in your wallet? I don't know. I'll look and I will tell you. Why? Because you are dead sure that if you look, you will know whether there is change or not. Is there change for $500 or there is no change for $500? If you look, you will know. No doubt about that. Anyone has a doubt? If they look into your wallet, then you will not know. Is there a doubt? No, you will know. There may be a doubt whether there is change or not change. That's okay. But if you look, you will know. Same way. I don't know the truth, but I know for sure if I listen to the Shastra, I will know. That confidence is called Paraya Shraddhaya Yuktaha. Absolutely. Shastra is a pramana, will give me the truth. I just have to understand it. That's it. That is Paraya Shraddha. That means you will teach the Shastra, you will treat the Shastra with the same respect you give to your eyes. It's a pramanam. Pramakarnam pramanam. That which gives you knowledge is called pramana. Do you have that confidence in the Shastra that you have in your eyes? Swamiji, thoda. Then you have to work on it. Then you have to work on it. But this type of confidence is called Paraya Shraddha. Parashraddha. Okay? Therefore, Paraya Shraddha. Yomam Nitya Upasate. Nitya Upasate. Regularly. Nitya means not always, eternally, Regularly. Okay, Upasate. Their whole life is committed to that. He says, Shraddhaya Parayopasa. Te Yukta Tamo Mataha. He is better. He is the best of them. Why? Because between cause and effect there cannot be a choice. Between means and end there cannot be a choice. Should I join a college or get a degree? Is there a choice? Samji, in India it can be. You can buy a degree. I mean a certificate. You can't buy a degree, you can't buy the knowledge. You can buy a certificate. Some states in India are famous for that. Well, don't stand up to heavy scrutiny. So, there is no choice between the two. No? So, Krishna here is emphasizing on the means. How are you going to get up to there? To Nididhyasanam, etc. Owning up the truth. How will you get there? Worship is the way. Karma Yoga is the way. Even for sannyasa, Karma Yoga is the way. No? If you have not lived a life of Karma Yoga, you can't straight away jump into sannyasa. He had seen that in the 4th, 5th chapters. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha. One is not competing for it. You will only get dukkha, nothing else. I have given you all the stories of people whom I know where they took a life of sannyasa. Let them keep it up. Like there was a friend of mine, batchmate, very devoted. Devotion was very nice to see. And very generous. Once I remember we had gone somewhere and he saw this old sannyasi standing in the river and doing japa, shivering away because it was cold. The guy took off his shawl and went to the sannyasi and put it around him. Stranger, doesn't know him from Adam. And it was winter, but he gave his own shawl up. Such a nice, so much of devotion is but not cut out for the sannyasa life, not yet ready. Why? We're standing for Bhiksha and there's tears flowing down his eyes. I said, Champ, abhi kya ho gaya tere ko? What happened to you? Remembering my mama, how she used to, what love she used to give me food. So I gave her back on the back, just a thumb. I said, yeah, dry your tears, you're standing in a queue. Okay, fine. I said, you won't survive this life. This life is not meant for you in your present condition. Because you're not ready. Ayogata. Luckily, he was still a brahmachari. So he could get married, this, that, etc. Have a family, he felt validated, etc. Good. Because he had left home too early. After school, he had left home, joined Shivananda Ashram for 8 years before he joined the course in my batch. Not ready, too hasty. Therefore, for that type of a life, for a life of complete nididhyasana, nothing else, he is not ready. Therefore, how do you get nityopasate? He had bhakti all right, he is a good bhakti, but he required to live that life a bit. And what is priorities, what is his need, had to be taken care of. When you are standing for Bhiksha, if you think of your mama, what does it mean? Let me elaborate this a bit, because that will make you understand something. What does that mean? Oh, he had a very loving mother. His mother was very nice. All the mothers will say that. No. That's not what it means. It means he needs the validation of love, family, etc. That validation is necessary in his life. He has not grown out of that need. Not grown out of that need. Not that he will not grow out of it. He can grow out of it. I mean, love and validation is always a great thing at any stage in life. But when it's a need, then you need to take care of it. That's all it means. That's all it means. Even if he didn't have a loving mother, he would have thought of his mother then. In that situation, because the need would have been stronger, not lesser. So, bhakti is one way of taking care of your emotional needs, because you can relate to the Lord in whatever manner you want to. Whatever manner you want to, you can relate. So it's a great validation. Bhakti is a validation of your emotions, actually speaking. For most people, good strong bhakti is enough, but may not be. May not be. You require to have some setup, this, that, etc., some structure. Fine, there's nothing wrong in it. That's what you need to grow. Use it to grow. Therefore, to grow, bhakti is the means. And that he will reveal here. Various steps of it also. Various levels of it also. Because the means to get an independent mind is to depend on the Lord and reduce your dependency on other things, isn't it? I mean, even if you read English poetry and all, you'll find that. There's a pirate who said that. In God be our dependence, and our hope the Spaniards' gold. He is attacking a ship for the gold is carrying. But whom are you depending upon? In God be your dependence. You're doing adharmic action. Okay, you're a bloody pirate. So the idea is that only God Who will be there for you all the time? God and you. No one else. No one else. We all say, like I tell all my students, मैं हूँ ना, I'm there, don't worry. True, I'm there. But sometimes when you call me, I may be in a class, I won't pick up the phone. What will happen then? You're in an emergency situation, you're calling. No, but everybody will be in that situation where you can't respond. At some times there will be like that. You can't respond. Or early morning you are calling from Australia and I am in deep slumber, samadhi at that time. Because till 2 o'clock in the morning here. So in God we are dependent, that's it. Because see, growing up, you may require some things to depend on a few things. In Vyavahara, we are not talking about physical dependence. Physical dependence, we depend on a lot of things. Especially if you are a city guy. If you are living in a city, why? The city does not produce anything it consumes. Your water is coming from outside. Your food is coming from outside. Your milk is coming from outside. Electricity is coming from outside. What does the city produce? Except money, nothing else. You can buy all these things. So physically there is a dependence. There is a dependence. Here we are talking of emotional dependence. There is various levels. One is sheer love. Love is not dependency. But generally we find love mixed up with dependency. That's why you get clingy. Can't let go. Can't let the person be free to be the person it's meant to be. That's why love gets confused with control. Dependency on side, control on the other side. Because born of your need. Born of your need. I must find my soulmate and perfectly fine. All my needs are taken care of. You know the load on the other person is to take care of every need of yours. He'll run away. He or she will run away a little. Yeah, how can you put such a load? You can't put such a load. That's why you have a few friends, etc. Why? Whom are you going to crib about your partner to? You can't crib to your partner, then they'll end up in a fight. And you don't want a fight, you're fought enough. You crib to your friend only. Now, who else will you crib? And whom will you crib about your friend? Some other friend. And then that gets into big mess. So final dependency is Ishvara. Depend on Ishvara. Yes, before you depend on Ishvara, you need to you have a few emotional dependency on these people. Then you start depending on Ishvara. Then what happens? A person behaves like that, he's supposed to be my friend. Ishvara's order is okay. Person is struggling with his or her mind like how I am struggling with mine. Therefore Ishvara take care, say so that angst is gone. You are not happy with it, but that angst is gone. Why? Ishvara is your dependence. Lord, nothing is working out. There is a bhajan like that also. सब कुछ हार के आया हूँ, अब क्या हार चढ़ाएगा? He puns on that word. I have lost everything and I have come. Har also means garland. Now what garland am I going to put on you? I don't have anything with me. सब कुछ हार के आया हूँ, अब क्या हार चढ़ाएगा? So, that type of a bhakti, where you free yourself from the emotional dependency on things in the world, from situations, where you get your balance. Samatvam yoga muchyate. That balance in life is called yoga. So bhakti is not separate from yoga. Okay? Samatvam yoga muchyate, second chapter. One of the fundamental definitions of yoga. Samatvam yoga muchyate. That balance in life is yoga. So that balance you got. Why? Nitya yuktaha upasate. Paraya shraddhaya yuktaha. Great shraddha. And this, you can live any life and have it. I have seen it in n number of people who at first sight you won't think it's anything to do with spirituality. But they have it. I have seen that. Remember I talked about Muhammad Ali once? God is in my, Choti is in my corner, what do you have to be afraid of? Not that he won all his fights, in the later half he lost a couple of them. But God is in my corner, nothing to be afraid of. The whole world was against him at that time, government etc. You won't associate devotion with a man like that, but he was, it's solid devotion. In the armed forces etc., if you look at our regiments in India especially, okay, many of their battle cries are invoking Ishvara. Many of the battle are invoking Ishvara. I have yet to see a soldier who doesn't have some bhakti. Because we are dealing with death here, come on. How can you not have devotee? Mercenaries are different. They are working for pay, for money, for gains. They are not working for the nation. Yeah, soldiers also get paid. Why? You have to maintain family, you know, take care of the family, parents, etc. So you need some money, that's it. But they are not doing it for the money. So all of them are there. Though, have you ever seen an ad for the armed forces saying bhakti is necessary? The terrorist also has bhakti, okay? Very distorted form, but he has it. That's why he can take those risks. But distorted in his mind. Ideas are distorted. Condition. That's the problem. Yeah, Karthik, you had a question.
So, Swamiji, recently I was a part of a conversation where somebody was suggesting along the lines of, oh, Karma Yoga is so difficult, but I'm still doing it almost like gritting my teeth and doing Karma Yoga. Whereas, of course, I was just listening to it. What I was internally thinking was Karma Yoga, if anything, it should actually be giving you more inner leisure and not the opposite where you're sort of gritting your teeth and saying, I'm doing Karma Yoga. Right?
You know why it is happening? His bhakti is very shaky. His devotion of the Lord and understanding of the Lord is shaky. Understanding the Lord and His order, very, very shaky. That is why. And the situations in his or her life may be very challenging also. So difficult to accept. Difficult to accept. Prasada buddhi is difficult. Come on. Everything is going in sixes and then what prasada buddhi? Like, for example, That kid who died last week down my road, 11-year-old kid. Can I go and talk to the parents on Prasada Buddhi? I'll be the last person to do it. I have to deal with their grief first. Even supposing they are also students of the Gita, traditional, from a traditional acharya, still I wouldn't talk to them about it. Not in the beginning. Toward the end of the conversation I'll bring it in, but not in the beginning. Well, you have to validate that grief. And this. So this person is going through that. Though the exercise is intellectual discussion, what the person wants is some emotional validation, some empathy, some understanding. Difficult. Things are going wrong. Nothing that you want is happening. Yeah, that's the thing. Are you getting the idea that empathy helps people to get there? Because what is the one complaint I hear all over the world? Nobody understands me. People don't want you necessarily to solve their problem, but they want you to understand what they're going through. So nobody understands me is the biggest complaint in the world. And it's correctly so. Because people rush in with solutions. In fact, there is a joke like that. No? Husband telling his wife, if you tell me there is a problem, I'll give you solutions. If you have empathy, go to your girlfriends. Because they are not here. So that is what in that conversation I was struggling. Yeah, Prashant, you have a question.
Swamiji, this just on the Nimitta Matram, I just had a one more question related to what you explained as well. So, to understand that, or at least to bring the thought that I am only a Nimitta, like that, at least to me comes more, more only when like I cannot do anything more in a given situation. But as long as there is something that I can do, I'm like more caught up in like, yeah, I need to do something. So I'm still confident that I can make things better or change it. So at that time, that nimitta is not there. It's only when everything is exhausted, like, there is nothing more I can do. That's only when it's more like a helplessness that brings about that nimitta thought rather than actively looking at myself as a...
Okay, I'll handle that. Actually, this few verses on Bhakti is leading to that. But in a nutshell to put it, Dennis the Menace asked by a mom to sit in the corner, punishment. And say, I should have told her this. One statement is thinking, I should have told her this. Then why didn't you tell me? Because that time I didn't think of it, I am thinking of it now. Are you getting that? So, in a given situation, if you are looking back, 100 things you could have done. But at that moment, what did you do? The best that came into your mind. Now that we can refine. Like we will say, Swamiji also, Puja Swamiji also used to use that. Don't do the first thing that comes into your mind, do the second thing that comes into your mind. Because the second thing is more deliberately chosen. And when you have lived like that for some time, what is the next step? Do the third thing that comes into your mind? No. Just act. Don't think about acting, just act. Why? Because you have lived in dharma, you have lived as a karma yogi long enough. So now, whatever you act spontaneously will be the right thing. But you have to reach that place. When you act without thinking. When you can act without thinking. Like this great martial artist was asked, what do you think before you punch? He says, I don't think. The punch happens. I don't think the punch happens. Why? Every day for years he has practiced it 1,000 times. You have to think. So I have lived a life of Karma Yoga, then I don't have to think. Naturally, spontaneously I do. But where the way there is to be deliberate. To be deliberate is not to be reactive by the first statement, but to be reactive by thinking and then responding. To be non-reactive. That's why I said Karma Yoga is a high level of being proactive and acceptance, both together. Now, when you are saying that only in helplessness can I think of nimitta matram, you are not being proactive enough. I am a capable man. Nimitta matram, think of Anjaneya, what he made as nimitta. If you are out of bhakti, bhakti yoga, that's why I am giving these examples. Anjaneya, nimitta matram. What am I doing it for? Rama's sake, not me. For Sita Maiya's sake, not for me. But how phenomenal was his action. There was no helplessness in his action. In fact, he always thought, what more can I do? Okay, I found Sita, but she's in a very little disturbed. So what can I do to build her confidence? Next time. That's more than the brief. No? Brief was find Sita and come back and report. Don't engage the enemy, only report. I have to put some confidence into it. So went and talked to her. What more can I do? I have to go back, of course. Yeah. But before I go back, what can I do? Put some fear into all the Rakshasas. That one Vanara can do so much of damage. Put some fear into it. Burn down half of Lanka. Probably would have finished all of Lanka also coming back. He told Sita, no? I'll take you back right now. But she said, no, Ravana kidnapped me and took me. For Rama's honor to be restored, he has to win me back. But do you think it was impossible for Hanuman to take away Sita in the darkness of the night without anything? Yeah. Rescue operations. Commando mission. Rescue the kidnapped guy. It would have been very easy for Hanuman to do that. Put Sita on his shoulder and then go back. Easy. In and out. Before the enemy discovered he is there. But can you see all actions deliberate for a certain purpose? Because rescuing Sita was only part of the job. Destruction of the Ravanas was the job. The headquarters of the Rakshasas had to be destroyed. That was the job. The larger picture. So for the larger picture, he had to do less. He had to do less, remember? He could have rescued Sita. Clean cut commando operation. Today's world, we would have done that. First rescue the hostage and then. But there is a different world. It had to be done differently. So he did less. Could have brought Sita back, finished, job over. Before the Rakshasas found out where she has disappeared. Then they'll be fighting among themselves. Wondering, blaming each other. All the guards would have been executed by Ravana. But he did less. He said, no, I can do that, but I will do this. Therefore, my next option is put some fear into all these characters before I go back. So, nimitta matram bhava. Look at it in the greater plan of things. Nimittam. Nimittam bhava. Important to own up what I can do and see how much of that I should do. In hindsight, all of us could have done things differently, and it's good to have hindsight because that's where learning happens in a situation. So to have a hindsight and look at the situations and the things that I handled and see in what way I could have improved is a good thing to do. Not out of guilt, not out of regret, but as a learning exercise. Okay. As a learning exercise. In fact, I used to do this in corporates. I used to explain to them what responsibility and proactivity is, and then take case studies of what they have gone through as an organization, what they have gone through, and look at the situation and see in what way they could have improved it. Because that's applying that learning to a past incident. So that's good. That's a good thing to do. Not out of guilt, not out of regret, but out of learning. That's good. That's how we grow anyway. We grow from our. How do we grow from our own experiences? By applying this learning to it. So we learn. Otherwise, just going through experiences, we don't learn. You go through a lot of experiences, and you may even have the wrong learning. Wrong learning? Yeah, experiences isn't easy. Remember the story of the Padri and that whiskey and water and the worm? If you drink whiskey, there will be no worms in your stomach. Wrong learning coming up. So if you are really Nimitta, you are a powerful person. Though there will be moments where you can feel helpless, and that's perfectly okay. Yeah. The strongest person can feel helpless at times. That's okay. Because the situation is so overwhelming. Yeah. So that's when the other part of bhakti can come. Lord, I have done what I can. Now it's in your job. Okay. You think we don't feel like that? When we get some fantastic students, sometimes you feel like that. Lord, I have done everything I can do. Now you take care of the character. Don't worry, I am not referring to anyone in this group. But I had students coming to me who threatened to be a student, didn't become a student. They only threatened to be a student. So, that's why Puja Swami wrote that once he was talking in Hawaii. Can you imagine? Vedanta in Hawaii. That's worse than Vedanta in Goa. Imagine if I was going to take camp in Goa, what will happen? Class will be only between 9 and 12. Why? Because you need time to go to the beach. Evening, of course, you have to have a few drinks. Then morning, you can't get up for meditation. So he's talking in Hawaii. And you are sure that the people are not getting it. Okay. So coming back in the car, there's this girl, Kalyani, who was a student, okay, my Guru Ben, who was from Hawaii, who organized the whole thing in Hawaii. She was from Hawaii herself and she had got it, okay. She was good. Kalyani was good. Good teacher, everything. So he started singing, Uddharamam Deenam Atideenam Balaheenam. That song was composed there because they were, how am I going to make these people understand? You don't go to Hawaii for spirituality, you go to Hawaii to have a great time there. So there will be moments when you feel like that. It's okay, that's fine, that's part of the game. So a song can come. Puja Swami, a bhajan came out. In me, some jokes will come out. Some humor will come out. Well, hey, personality wise we are different. But both of us will say, God, take care of these characters. Okay, I got it. That will be common. So that's part of the game. There are moments when you feel like this. That's why in the services we say this. Either you will kill and succeed, or you will die and succeed. But you will succeed all right. Are you getting the idea? You will die doing it. Fine. What do you do? Yeah, you will do what has to be done. That type of a commitment. Yeah, that type of a commitment. Swamiji, why are you giving the example of the soldier all the time? Because, in fact, I gave it at a talk. Prempuri Ashram, very traditional place. In front of traditional Mahatmas, I challenged their ideas of bhakti. So one Mahatma, an elderly man, said, Maharaj ji ne sach bola. He said, what a sannyasi achieves through tyaga, the soldier achieves through balidan. Through sacrifice. Tyaga is to renounce. This is to sacrifice. Balidan. Correct? Mindset is same. The core mindset is the same. Trust in Ishvara is the same. All that is same. Therefore, only when you live a life of bhakti will you get up to there. Therefore, Krishna is highlighting the cause itself, not the end thing. What is the most important thing? Without bhakti, nothing is achieved. Without the karma yoga spirit, nothing is achieved. Your worship may not have been traditional. That's okay. It's been traditional, good. We are not talking about the worship. We are talking about the attitude, the recognition, the feeling, the sense of commitment, the sense of sacrifice. That's what's being highlighted. Like there's a very interesting story. Arjuna is doing tapas to have Ishvara darshan, to get Pashupati Astra from Shiva, because he knows battle, we are facing all these giants, Atirathis like Bhishma, etc. I have to equip myself well, otherwise we won't win this war. So he is doing that tapas. Suddenly a boar went in front of him. And Arjuna is very hungry, so he took out his arrow and shot. And a hunter also shot the same boar. Now both are claiming the boar. So the argument, it came to a war, fighting. And Arjuna is throwing arrows, shooting arrows at this guy, but they are falling at his feet. Suddenly he realized, my God, this is the Lord himself. So Arjuna says, sorry. Puts a namaskara and says, sorry. Instead of worshipping you, I fought you. Shiva laughs and says, you worship me in the best manner you knew. You worship me in the best manner you knew. Swakarmanam tamabhyakcha siddhim vindati manava. Doing your own duty to the highest way you can. Siddhim vindati. So excellence in your action is part of that work. Excellence meaning what? Appropriate to the situation, okay? Appropriate to the situation. So that is where bhakti is an action now. Bhakti is in the work that you are doing. So their excellence will be appropriate to the situation. There are two of you at home and you are cooking. Well, you'll cook, you'll present it nicely in a bowl, this, that, etc. Plate. Just two of you at home. Okay? Are you going to make it an elaborate presentation with decoration, this, that, the napkin folded like a swan? Are you going to do all that? That's fine when you are getting a royalty at home. Appropriate to the situation. You cook well now, both of you. Excellence appropriate to the situation at hand. Otherwise, because excellence, you'll keep on, I have to excellence. Then you start feeling guilty because I have not done enough. Yeah, human mind is crazy, You'll always get into self-blame and guilt and things like that for nothing. So excellence is always with the situation in hand. I have to cut vegetables. Each of the thing has to be exact same size. So what are you going to do? Measure and cook? You can. Though I don't know any situation where you should be doing like that. Once I remember going to a friend's house and we are all cooking together. 3-4 of us. So she's saying, see, this is Chinese food. I want all the beans to be cut at an angle, okay? Not just chop, 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 chop. Okay. Boss saying that, okay, fine. Now how are you going to you're going to take the thing and cut at an angle? Good time like that. So I took a scissor, cut. Oh, you cut it very nicely. I said, yeah. Where did you learn to handle a knife like that? I said, I used a knifeless knife. This is called no knife technique. This is something you learned in martial arts. Yeah. To use a tool appropriate for the job. So remember, it's all relative. Okay. But yeah, you do a good job. Your result is a good job. That's what is important. Appropriate for the situation you want. See, when the 4-5 people who are coming for dinner is going to help you cook the dinner, you can be informal about it. No? You don't have to have perfection. It's okay. Oh, but the person wanted it. Well, why should I be arguing about it? Achha, you want to take it. No problems. It is not my knife skills. My knife skills are different. But those skills are not exactly used in the kitchen. No. Appropriate for job and work. That's what. So, doing a good job is part of that worship. Your duty. That's why the Shiva statement is important. Yeah. You worship me in the best way you know. Because what is he praying for? He's not saying, oh Lord, give me a good wife. You already had enough. He's not saying, give me a kingdom, I can win it on my own. Give me the tools for the job. That's what he wanted. Give me the tools for the job. Somebody else may pray differently, that's okay. What is your position? Where are you? What you are going to do? Therefore, if you want to get up into the place where only contemplation is here, you start here. Therefore, this is the cause for that. Therefore, the cause is important. Therefore, Krishna highlights that in the second verse. That worship is important. Until you have a prayerful mind. It is not the prayer that's important. Getting a prayerful mind is what's important. A mind that will recognize Ishvara everywhere. Ishvara is not out of sight, out of mind. If you have that, worship has done its job. Then you can go into Nididhyasana, etc. You don't need anything else. Only that is enough. Until then, some worship, some understanding Ishvara is good. So there are more details to this, which we will see next class. Okay. Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.